Well, do you want to know interesting little things about Virginia Beach, the facts? Today we're talking about 10 and a half, yes, 10 and a half things that I think are interesting that you should know about living in Virginia Beach. And make sure and watch to the end of the video, which the last one is that 10 and a half one. That's a strong opinion that I have that I think is very uncommon and controversial. And we're starting right now. Hey, my name is Sam Sansalone and I'm a real estate agent in Hampton Roads, Virginia. And if it's your first time here, glad you made it. Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification and the like button. If you like my videos, if you think it's really good information, hit that like button and that tells YouTube that I'm doing a good job. I help people from all over the world move into this area, all over the world, in the country. I love doing this. If you have any questions at all about moving into the area, please let me know. I've dropped my contact information in the description below and you can ask me anything about the area. I'll do whatever I can to help you relocate into Virginia Beach and these cities are surrounding Virginia Beach. And I'm a local, right? I grew up in Virginia Beach, so I feel like I've got a very specific understanding and perspective on living in the city of Virginia Beach. So I want to tell you about some unique things that I think are interesting. It gives you some more context of Virginia Beach and just some more information that's cool to know. Now, if you do research about living in Virginia Beach, you'll find lots of common discussion points. You'll see things about King Neptune. You'll see things about Mount Trashmore, the boardwalk at the ocean front. You'll talk about the ocean front itself. But today I want to talk about a few little interesting tidbits that I think are good to know that most people might not know about Virginia Beach. Well, number one is the beach itself. Virginia Beach is the longest pleasure beach in the world, 35 miles of beachfront. So that's not just the ocean front. So if you looked at the Virginia Beach map, you'll see on the east side, you'll see the ocean front. Well, if you go further south, that whole strip there from the ocean front all the way down into what's called Sandbridge, all that is all beachfront. And if you go further north, all the way up past the ocean front, you'll get to First Landing State Park. That area is called the North End. And then you wrap around that side up to the top part, that is Chicks Beach or Chesapeake Beach. All this is beachfront in Virginia Beach and it makes up this 35 miles. So you do not have any shortage of beach in Virginia Beach. But the thing about these beaches is that each one has different vibes to it. So if you go to the ocean front, it's more touristy. Go to Sandbridge, it's more secluded, more, kind of almost like the Outer Banks. They call it the Outer Banks of Virginia. And then Chicks Beach is like a real small, little tight-knit community that's been around for a long time. That feels totally separate from the rest of Virginia Beach and the rest of the other beaches in Virginia Beach. So there are several beaches and they all have different vibes and things that might suit you the best. Now next is there are a lot of famous people that are born in Virginia Beach, but there are some specific ones I'll talk about. Number one is Pharrell Williams. Well, he lived in Virginia Beach, grew up in Virginia Beach, and he was, first of all, the lead singer of NERD, but has become an international pop superstar. He grew up in this area, and he's also put his stamp on other pieces of the city, including a wave park that will be constructed in the near future right near the ocean front. Timbaland is also from the city of Virginia Beach. Now, as far as actors and actresses go, Mark Ruffalo, I'd say, is the most popular actor or actress that is from Virginia Beach, and this area is really well known for athletes. People like Ryan Zimmerman, baseball player, plays for the Washington Nationals. Gabby Douglas, two-time Olympic gold medalist. And another popular celebrity that's from Virginia Beach was from the first season of Survivor, Rudy Bosch, who you may have seen in I think it was the year 2000, the very first Survivor. Now next is the interstate system. It's not weird, it's just labeled strange. So if you do come to this area for the first time, you're gonna notice two distinct interstates. One is Interstate 264 that runs east and west in Virginia Beach and all through the Hampton Roads area, east and west. But the north and south areas are covered by Interstate 64. Well, Interstate 64 goes through Norfolk and into Virginia Beach and into Chesapeake, all the way to Suffolk, back up to Hampton and Newport News. It makes a big circle. Now the reason this is important is that when it goes into Virginia Beach, that section goes north and south. This matters because the interstate itself is labeled east and west. The signs say east and west. So when people come to this area and try and find their way around, they'll see Interstate 264 east and west, and they'll see Interstate 64 east and west. But both of them go in different directions, totally opposite directions in Virginia Beach. So keep that in mind if you plan on coming to this area or living in this area. Not everything that says east and west actually goes east and west. Now the next thing is involving Virginia Beach is farmland. Well, Virginia Beach is often known for its oceanfront, its tourism. Well, I will say that Virginia Beach is also about 10% farmland. That's right. The area as a whole, the whole city of Virginia Beach, is 497 square miles. Well, of that, 45 square miles of it is farmland, over 28,000 acres. So looking at the map in Virginia Beach, you'll see lots of oceanfront there on the east side. You'll see a lot of suburbs on the north, northeast, northwest, all around in the south as well. Neighborhoods, lots of strip malls, lots of just places, shopping, restaurants, and all that kind of stuff. But if you go further south, near places called Pungo, Creeds, there's also Princess Anne Road is a long road that goes all the way down south towards the border of Virginia Beach, North Carolina. That whole section down there is either wildlife refuge, which is Back Bay Wildlife Refuge, or a lot of farmland, lots of wide open space. So when you think about Virginia Beach, you might think of all that other stuff, the city, but keep in mind that about 10% of this place is still farmland. Now the next one that also talks about the size and the density of Virginia Beach. This one's interesting. Now according to the census, there are just over 447,000 people in the city of Virginia Beach. Well, a website called World Population Review took the census information and calculated density numbers based on those population numbers based on the top 200 cities in the country. There are 707 people for every square kilometer in Virginia Beach. There are only 4 cities in the country that have a smaller density but larger population. Those cities are Oklahoma City, Nashville, Jacksonville, and Kansas City. So for the size of the city itself, it's not very dense at all compared to all the other cities in the country. It's the number 44 city in the country in regards to population, but the number 24 city in regards to land size in the country. So if you want to come to a city that is not very dense for the amount of people that are here, Virginia Beach might be a good place to check out. Now the next one is talking all about the work and traffic life here. So a website called Kisi.com, K-I-S-I.com, is trying to categorize the top 40 cities in the country based on the work-life balance that they found for each city. So Virginia Beach was found to be number 14 of the top 40 cities in work-life balance. They basically generated a score weighted on a bunch of different statistics, one of which was work commute time, which was 13th out of 40. Another was happiness. How happy are the people in Virginia Beach? Well, we scored 14th out of 40 there too. And also safety. They ranked 17th out of 40 in safest cities in the country. All these things are essentially, again, above average. Nothing fancy, nothing awesome, but nothing horrible either. Well, one big thing that Virginia Beach ranked high on was in an outdoor space score. So there's a lot more things to do outside, which is true because you've got things like First Landing State Park, Back Bay Wildlife Refuge, I mentioned in a lot of other videos. Of course, all the beaches here, and also over 200 publicly funded parks in the city of Virginia Beach, which is ridiculously high. It can be as large as places like Mount Trashmore, which I'm sure you may have seen if you've seen lots of other, Virginia Beach fun things videos. And also small parks also. Lots of them are small, tucked away into individual neighborhoods. You have some with disc golf courses. You have some that are dog friendly, big parks, small parks. So there is plenty of outdoor activities and options in the city of Virginia Beach, which makes this city rank so high in relation to other big cities. Now, as far as traffic, I go back to the stat of 13th out of 40th as far as traffic commute time from home to work. Well, it's the average time is 24.3 minutes. There can be traffic, there can be accidents that just show up randomly that can frustrate people. In some areas of interstates and highways, those roads can have fewer lanes, which means that there are lots of cars trying to funnel through a real small bottleneck area of the city, which creates more traffic and creates more frustration. So while there are plenty of areas in the city that are perfectly fine as far as traffic, there are very specific points that really can clog up and make backups that really frustrate people. So while the commute times aren't super high in relation to other big cities, this area doesn't always live like a huge city. This area is just big enough to where it happens, but not big enough to where people, I think, expect it on a regular basis. Now the next one is interesting. I remember about almost 18 to 20 years ago, there was the Beltway sniper up in the Northern Virginia area, in Alexandria, around Washington, D.C. There were a couple guys, John Muhammad and Lee Boyd Malvo. They went from state to state, robberies, murders. They killed a lot of people in the Northern Virginia area. But well, their trial got changed and moved to Virginia Beach. There was a request for a change of venue, and so that trial was here in Virginia Beach. And the interesting part about this for me was I was called for jury duty for this trial. And so I had to go, and I was 19 at the time. I had to park at an off-site place, got bussed in, a bunch of us got bussed in, a couple hundred of us. We went to an undisclosed part of the area, and then in groups of us, we got sent in for the jury interview process. And because I was 19 at the time, and I just told them that I just could not because of my life and work circumstances, so they let me go. But it was really interesting to be a part of it, just even from a distance, of this big high-profile case. Now, number 8 is, remember Guy Fieri, his Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives show on the Food Network? Well, he's come here before, and there are 7 restaurants that have been featured on his show, but only 2 of them I've been to: Whitner's Barbecue and the Carib Shack. And if you've heard any of my other videos about Virginia Beach, some of them have had me talk about the Carib Shack because I love the Carib Shack. The rest of them are Rigoletto Italian Bakery, Beach Pub, Citrus Breakfast and Lunch, Leaping Lizards Cafe, and Flip Flops Grill and Chill. All of those I've never been to. I've heard a couple good things about, like Flip Flops, for instance, and Citrus. Whitner's was okay, it was pretty good. I will say though that Dave's, I think, is by far way better than Whitner's. I know very few people that have even been to these places, which is really weird, but kind of goes to show you how many good restaurants there are in the area. But while I've heard some good things about these restaurants, you may have heard me talk about restaurants in a lot of other of my videos that I love a lot more, but I might give these a try too, just to kind of give you an idea of what I think about. Number 9 is about high schools, specifically Ocean Lakes. Niche.com ranked 350 high schools in Virginia, and Ocean Lakes ended up being ranked 14th overall in the entire state. So we were talking the top 4% of the state. This is like one of the flagship schools of a city that has lots of great schools in it. Princess Anne was also ranked 31st. These are 2 examples of really big, high-profile, top-ranked schools in the state, but there are other awesome schools, high schools, and other middle schools and elementary schools that are amazing in the city of Virginia Beach. So a lot of people that do move here end up coming here for the schools. And number 10 is breweries. It's kind of underrated, but Virginia Beach actually has 15 breweries in the city. There are some larger, like Commonwealth, which is one of my favorites, as well as a big one called New Realm and Wasserhund, and there are several others that are great. Back Bay Brewing is a new one that is in an old farmhouse style house on Kempsville Road, but there are several. I'll drop some links for some good ones of my favorites, but I do think my favorite probably is Commonwealth. Also because not only does it have good beer, but it has some good games in the back room too. Now the 10.5 fact is more of an opinion from me. I've talked a lot about me not being a beach person. Well, I love the beach, I just love the scenery of the beach. I don't really mind walking, I like walking on the boardwalk, but I will tell you, Atlantic Avenue and Pacific Avenue, I cannot stand at all. The ocean front is the worst to me. Like if you go anywhere from like 5th Street up to about 40th Street, you see the same thing over and over and over. People ask me about cruise ships. I'm not a big cruise guy. My wife and I don't have any interest in going on a cruise. If I watch a commercial, watch something on YouTube about different islands, a lot of them look the same to me. And so I'm like, why would I go out of my way to go to this island when I can go to this one and it's the exact same? That's how I feel about the ocean front. Each street feels the very same to me, and I live here and I've seen it so many times, and maybe I'm just off, you know what I mean? Maybe I just don't get it. Same, you don't get it. I don't know. I feel like there's 35 or so blocks of the same exact thing. Now, I've mentioned in other videos about Virginia Beach, one of which was, I think I counted 8 or 9 stores called Sensations, which is just like a tourist t-shirt shop on the ocean front, like 8 or 9 of them in about a 30 block zone. That's crazy to me. It's the same thing. There are some cool little small mom and pop places, restaurants, ice cream parlors. Lolly's is a great one. It's just off the ocean front. But those 2 roads, Pacific Avenue and Atlantic Avenue, in that section of the ocean front, right where all the tourists are, I do not like it. It feels like work driving over there just to hang out. And I've done a lot of videos about Virginia Beach and the entire area around Virginia Beach. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, or you can click here for a couple good videos that give more context about the city and the area. If you plan to relocate into this area, always reach out. I've got my contact information in the description if you have any questions about moving into the area. And I will see you on the next video.